Hi, this is the Marine Channel again at Southampton Boat Show. We've run into quite an interesting chap here, Will Croxford, who's putting together a really interesting project. And I'm here with Will now, who's hopefully going to tell us all about it and how unique it is. Will, hi.
Hi.
Will, firstly tell us about your boat and then tell us about the challenge that you're doing.
So my boat is a Freya's 45 and I'm sailing her solo non-stop around the world, 100% electric and fossil fuel free.
Wow. And nobody's ever done this?
As far as I'm aware, no one's ever completed a non-stop circumnavigation according to the IAC rules around the world.
Okay. And you're not doing this on your own, you're doing it as part of an organised race?
Yeah, I'm doing it as part of the Global Solo Challenge, which inaugural race is next September. Put together, it's got a lot of entries, about 45 now, and boat ranges from 34 foot up to 56 foot. All they have to be is ocean class and ocean safe, and anybody with enough sailing experience can enter. Brilliant.
Now the boat I know is a 1990, so obviously traditionally constructed with, presumably there's a diesel engine down there somewhere. Tell us what you're going to do to actually electrify it and get that horrible thing out of here.
Yeah, so as you're right, diesel engine below, but we were ripping that out, sticking with the shaft drive and putting an electric motor on the end where the engine would have been. We're taking all the gas systems out that we use for cooking and putting electric cooking in, and then we're putting banks of batteries in to balance the boat with batteries and give us enough power, which will be charged from solar and hydro generating on the back, so not like hydrogen but actual generation in through the motion through the water. And that's all getting ripped out, and then all my cooking will be done on electric or boiling a kettle with inverters to help boost the power to 240 when I need it.
Brilliant. And is this circumnavigation non-stop, or are you?
Yeah, so it's a non-stop solo around the world, so no one else on board, and unless I've had a catastrophic failure or I'm not very well, I won't be going to port. It will all be offshore.
Wow, okay. And tell us what you've done with the boat so far.
So since I took ownership in March, I've put a complete new running and standing rigging. Thank you for my partners in that, VMG rigging and Kingfisher ropes. I've gone through and put some new bulkheads in the front of the boat to do my crash bulkheads at the front and my watertight bulkheads. I've still got some bulkheads to do at the back. I put my hydro generators on and got those all up and running. And I've given her a new respray and given her a fresh new look in red rather than navy blue to make her stand out in the Solent and when I'm out at ocean.
Brilliant. And are you doing a lot of the work yourself, or is it all contracted?
A lot of work is myself, other than the rigging. That was done by VMG, and I'm using, for electrics, I'm using A1 Marine, but everything else, a lot of it is involved. I do get contractors in for various bits, but I try and be involved throughout so that I know what's happening with my boat and how it's all been put together and constructed, which I feel is vital for what I'm doing, knowing my boat inside out.
Brilliant. And what are the unknowns yet to put into the boat and figure out? So
we're still figuring out what electric motor we're going to put on. I'm in talks with various different manufacturers and companies on that, and with what the setup, depending on what motor we put in and what battery bank setup we're going to go with. So they're a little bit unknown, but hopefully in the next month or two I'll get that sort of nailed down and worked out which ones we're going for with that.
Great. And in terms of sponsorship, tell us about how far you've got with that.
So I've been really lucky to be sponsored by some great partners. So I'm partnered with Boat Folk at Haslar Marina for my berthing, Remoran for my hydro generators, Kingfisher ropes as I mentioned earlier, Musto, Spinlock, trying to remember all of it, Imray, Iridium for my satcoms, and AST for my satcoms for my actual network airtime and networks, and a lot of and solar technology for my solar panels and all of that. And so I've got some great product sponsorship, Musto being one of them as well, and I'm now looking for more product sponsorship. I'm happy to take product sponsorship wherever, but more so the financial sponsorship now to help us get this boat turned around and electrified.
And how about you yourself? What's the experience? You've been around before, or?
I've never been around the world. I started sailing at the age of 10 in dinghies, which I think most people did. Went on when I was in my late teens to sail in yachts and keelboat boats in Australia and New Zealand, sailing the Great Barrier Reef and the Whitsundays in Australia, in the Bay of Islands in New Zealand, and then just sailing with my family, cruising around the Mediterranean, the Channel, the North Sea, and yeah, going from there really in a few deliveries across the Irish Sea and various places. So that's mine. I've never been to Southern Ocean, but I think it's one of those things you can't experience or compare it until you get down there.
Brilliant, and looking forward to it, obviously.
Yeah, loving it. Really looking forward to it. Apprehensive, but looking forward to it. And I've got my family all behind me and supporting me on that. So.
And what about shore support?
So on the shore side, I've got my PR team. I've got a great number of crew members, various different things that aren't like employed by me or anything, but friends that I sail with that jump in and jump at, like help, and all of that. And then I've got a few friends that are helping with weather routing, so I'll be able to call up and sort of say, this is what I think with the weather I'm coming up against. What are your thoughts? Because when you get that fatigue, it's nice to get that second opinion on what you're doing, and so that you're not sort of making bad decisions. Because once you're down there, one bad decision can end up in a lot of pain and a lot of damage.
And tell us about the solo side of things. So tell us how you'll cope with sleep and running what is effectively quite a big boat on your own.
Yeah, so she is a big boat. She's 45 foot, which is a lot of boat to run on your own. But once you're out there, like the close haul, like the close manoeuvring is not great when you're on your own. But once you're out there, size doesn't make that much difference. The Mockers are 60 foot, and they run them on their own. This lack of sleep is going to be a tough one. I haven't quite worked out how I'm going to run my sleep patterns, and there's a few solo tests, like solo runs and that, which are going to help me sort of work out that pattern. But I have been told by a few medical people I need to make sure I get an 8-hour sleep at least once a week, because that's when your body starts to heal. So that's going to be vital, and having the right equipment on board that allows me to have that downtime and monitoring, and then food to make sure I'm getting all my right stuff to keep me going.
Will, thanks so much for your time. Been really fascinating. Wish you the best of luck, obviously. We'll certainly be following you, and we'll put links to your website, obviously, on our channel. Wonderful story. Please follow the Marine channel for more stories like this, and we wish Will the best.
Thank you.